Gadsby's Tavern is at the heart of historic Old Town Alexandria. Today, the Tavern acts as both a restaurant and a museum that accurately depicts what life was like for the average Alexandrian in the colonial era. The museum hosts many costume balls, fundraisers, and participates in several Girl Scout activities to teach the future generation about their city's past. In the pre- and post-revolutionary period, it was an active hub for soldiers, politicians, and some of America's founding fathers, like George Washington and Thomas Jefferson. However, after its period of prosperity, the Tavern fell down on its luck and was on the road to demolition until the 1930s, when the American Legion Post 24 bought it and hoped to renovate the building as a museum to commemorate World War I veterans. The Tavern's uses varied over the years, and especially fell into disarray during the Reconstruction period after the Civil War.
But the town itself was in a really bad state of disrepair, I understand. It was pretty neglected. A lot of the buildings were not being utilized.
It was not until Rebecca Ramsey Reese took over the project in 1931 did any work on the museum actually start. Rebecca Ramsey Reese was a married mother of two who served as an active participant of the Daughters of the Revolution in the Alexandria chapter and other local societies like the Garden Club. At the time, Mount Vernon had just been refurbished, and there was a rush to save other historic sites in the area.
George Washington Parkway had just been created for the bicentennial of George Washington's birth, and the citizens of Alexandria thought it would be a huge economic boom to their town. So anything associated with George Washington was going to be a big deal. There was also an element of we don't want all this to go away.
As a descendant of those who were close to George Washington and lived in colonial Alexandria, Reese felt a strong need to preserve the few sites that were left in the area, starting with Gadsby's Tavern. She had little to no expertise in the field of restoration, nor did she have the resources, but she felt it was in the future generation's best interest to save and cherish the Tavern's history.
Also, another impetus is not only are they taking it away from us, they're taking it north.
Right.
And there was that whole north-south thing going on. You know, Mrs. Ramsey was a member of a lot of these ancestry-based organizations, and that was a big contributing factor as well.
Taking on so daunting and expensive of a project in the first place brought many obstacles, but also the fact that Reese was a woman during the 30s brought many objections and hindrances, as well as many naysayers who criticized her constantly.
My impression is that she was just like, we're going to get this done, and if nobody else is going to do it, I'm going to do it.
So she was really taking initiative in like a group of all these different female historical organizations.
Nevertheless, she knew how important it was to preserve the history of the Tavern, so the words of those who tried to stop her had little to no effect on her work or her perseverance. As a woman in the 30s, in her social standing and affiliations to such prestigious historical societies, Reese was called out and belittled for her supervision and leadership on such an important project.
And obviously the American Legion didn't step up.
It's a predominantly male organization, right?
Not only were the men who originally bought the Tavern unsupportive and unhelpful, but at the time, little credit was given to Rebecca Ramsey Reese when the Tavern and its reestablishment were mentioned in papers such as the Washington Post. Despite her critics, Reese was able to accomplish her challenging goal of completely finishing the Tavern's ballroom for George Washington's bicentennial ball in 1932, all due to her fundraising, communication, and will, driven by her passion for history and saving the Tavern.
Gunston Hall, the home of George Mason, was preserved and is open to the public because of the colonial dames. Those people are all, inspired by Rebecca Ramsey Reese.
Oh, well, that's incredible, honestly. So the Girl Scout program that is inspired by Rebecca, they come here and they learn her story. Would you say that's an accurate description, that that's her legacy that lives on after reconstructing this?
Oh, absolutely.
The Girl Scout program the museum offers is to help the girls work on their Silver or Bronze Awards as troops, which are community service projects junior Girl Scouts must complete in order to move up in ranks. At Gadsby's, Reese's stories is told to the girls before they get to work on their project, so to inspire and show them what a visionary can do. Although not given the credit and fame she deserves, her story is slowly being told, starting with the girls who are the future of America and are inspired by Reese's determination and passion for history and her community. Rebecca Ramsey Reese is not as particularly well known as the American Legion when discussing who brought the Tavern back to its formal glory, but she was without a doubt just as or even more important. Today, the museum honors her memory by telling her story of leadership and perseverance to Girl Scouts from ages 5 to 12, with hopes to inspire them in serving their communities and honoring their history with the same utmost zeal Rebecca had in saving Gadsby's Tavern.